again! In this video, I want to talk to you about musical texture. Musical texture is something that is defined as the musical characteristic that describes the relative roles and distribution of various melodies. What the heck does that mean? I'm glad you asked. If we think about music as existing in layers, okay, and each voice and each instrument makes up one layer, then listening for texture means listening for these layers and understanding and hearing how these layers interact, okay? So there are four main categories of texture: monophony, polyphony, homophony, and heterophony. And I'm going to walk you through them, okay, because the textbook, the chapters in the textbook often refer to these textures, but they don't really break down what they are and explain them, very succinctly. So I'm going to try and do that. So starting with monophony. Monophony means one sound or one voice. And this really means just a single melody. So if I were to sing the Happy Birthday song, just me, that is an example of a monophonic texture. There's one melody. Now, if all of you were to sing the Happy Birthday song with me, as long as we were singing that main melody, nobody's harmonizing, that is also monophonic texture. It doesn't matter how many voices you have or how many instruments you have. If they're all playing or singing the exact same melody at the exact same time, it is monophonic texture. In the Native American music chapter that we get to in week 4, there are a lot of good examples of monophonic texture. Native American music, traditional Native American music, is generally monophonic. Okay, so that's monophony. Polyphony, on the other hand, is many voices or many sounds. And what this means is that you have layers of melodies or layers of rhythmic patterns that are all relatively equal. There isn't one melody that's more important than the other. They're all generally equal. The African music chapter and the music of Central Asia and the Caucasus chapter, both of these talk about polyphony or polyphonic texture. The African music chapter deals more with polyphonic rhythm, and the music of Central Asia chapter deals more with polyphonic melody, but it's both the same type of texture. Many melodies or many rhythmic patterns, all of them generally equal, sort of stacked on top of each other. Okay? Now, there are two other forms of texture that could be considered like subcategories of polyphony, but they each get their own heading and description. One is homophony and the other is heterophony. And with homophony, we're talking about a single melody that is accompanied by supporting harmony. So basically, any pop song you have ever heard, ever, you've got the main singer and then you've got the backup singers. That is homophony. There is a main melody that is the focus, and then you have other melodies, but they're not as, the focus is not on them. I don't want to say they aren't as important. It's all important, but the focus is on that one main melody. Okay, that is homophony. Heterophony is a texture that we don't often hear in American music. It's just, we don't tend to use it. But East Asian cultures use this texture a lot. So China, Japan, and Korea, as well as other places around the world use this texture a lot more often than we hear it in American music. And this is heterophony, is when everybody is playing the same melody, but they're all doing it in their own idiom. So this instrument might be playing the melody at a certain speed or a certain tempo. And this other instrument might be playing it just a little bit faster or just a little bit slower. And this instrument might be ornamenting the melody in a certain way, and this other instrument is ornamenting the melody in another way. So they're all working from the same main melody. But unlike monophony, where everybody is singing exactly the same thing at exactly the same time, there's a lot more give and take with the melody in heterophonic texture. And as I say, this is a feature of a lot of East Asian musics, so when we get to our Japanese music chapter, you will hear a lot of examples of heterophonic music, or the heterophonic texture. Okay, so that has been musical texture in a nutshell. I hope that made sense, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next video.